Command Outpost Keating, or COP Keating, was a small outpost that was located in Nuristan province, Afghanistan. It wasn't much larger than the size of a football field. It had housed 53 American soldiers, and every single one of them, as they would first arrive to the outpost and walk around on this base, the first thing they would realize is that this has got to be the worst geographically, strategically placed base I've ever seen. As you walk around, it is surrounded by mountain on this side, mountains all around it. You don't have to know much about battle strategy to know that the high ground wins. And there are some completely surrounded by high ground. And so as a result of that, there would almost once a day or a couple times a day, there would be a small arms fire. There would be a small group of people who would come and attack the base. They'd fire off a couple rounds and then they'd leave. It usually wouldn't last more than an hour. But on October 3rd, 2009 at 6 a.m., the soldiers were awakened to gunfire, and they knew that this day would be different. As they would hear the sounds of mortar and RPGs going off, they would wake up, they would grab their flak, their Kevlar, their rifle, and they would go out to get to their battle positions. As soon as they open the door, they see muzzle flashes everywhere. They hear and see the sounds of bullets ricocheting off of everything around them, explosions. Many of them aren't able to get to their battle positions where they need to be, and so they immediately they take cover and they start to fire back at the enemy. One person in particular, Specialist Ty Carter, what he would do that day would understand that in a firefight you need ammunition. You have a gun to shoot, but you're going to need bullets to shoot at the bad guys. In a firefight of over 12 hours, you're going to need more and more ammo. And so multiple times he would run from one side of the base to the other to provide ammunition. It's probably about 100 yards, and every time he would do that, he would expose himself to gunfire, he would expose himself to RPGs and to mortar, but he knew it's what he had to do for the team. So at one point, he knows that there's an armored truck on the other side of the base that needs a barrel change. They need ammunition for their machine guns that they have. And so he takes the ammunition and he goes and he takes it to the other side and he gets to this armored truck and he hops in. Not long after he hops in, the truck would be struck multiple times by an RPG. The machine guns that they were using would be useless. And so now him and this other person are pinned down in this truck. And they're stuck there, and they're just machine guns just firing down on the truck. They know as soon as they open the door, they're dead. And so they sit, and they wait, and they think, and they hope. About that time, Carter looks out of the window, and he sees one of his friends that have been hit by an RPG. His leg is severely wounded. He's not able to walk. He's just crawling along the ground, just looking for cover any way that he can to survive. And Carter looks at him, and in that moment, he knows he has a decision to make. I can either stay here and I can be protected and stay where I'm at, or I can go and I can protect him and I can save him and I can do everything I can to save his life. He tells the other guy in the truck, hey, I'm going after him. He says, no, you don't do. As soon as you open the door, you're going to die. You're no good to him, dead. Just stay here. He says, no, this is what I have to do. There's a decision that I have to make. So he opens up the door, he goes over, he gets down, crouches next to him. He's able to apply a tourniquet to give him some medical attention, picks this guy up, takes him back to the armored truck, makes it safely, gets inside, close the doors, and they're okay for a little bit. Some more time passes, air support eventually comes in, provides cover fire to where they're able to get out and to get this guy on a stretcher into a medical facility. Carter, just after that, after he gets his friends safely to get medical attention, he goes back into the battle. And he would merit the Medal of Honor. It's the highest form of achievement, the highest thing that you can, recommendation, the highest award that you can receive in our American military system. And it happened because he had a decision to make. You see, in life, sometimes life throws obstacles, it throws curveballs, it puts you in situations, it forces you to make a decision of what am I going to do, how am I going to respond, how am I going to act in this moment, what kind of person am I going to be. And the actions of Specialist Carter on that day was something that he would be remembered for a very long time. And you see, I don't want to compare where we're at and what we're going through to that. But my point is, I think that an obstacle has been forced into our lives. Adversity has been forced into our lives. Many of you will not be in school for the next couple of weeks and maybe even longer. We don't really know. Many of you, the sports, the activities, the hobbies that you're normally a part of, you're not going to be able to be a part of those for a little while. There's 24 hours in a day. You're awake for at least or about 16 of those. And you have the question of what am I going to do at this time? What am I going to do in this situation? And I think that we can use our time just trying to get through the day, just kind of watching Netflix, spending time on social media, playing video games, and doing what we can to be entertained. Or we can say, how can I use this time in a way that honors God? How can I use this time to spend maybe 5-10 minutes in the Word? How can I maybe listen to a couple worship songs today and just thank God for giving me family, for giving me people and shelter in my life? How can we spend time in prayer? We just went through the spiritual discipline series and talked about all the different spiritual practices that we can implement into our lives, and prayer and singing and reading scripture and journaling and all of these different things. And I believe that every single one of us, man, we have that choice of how am I going to respond in a time of darkness, in a time of hurting, in a time of fear, in a time of questions. I think that we have the option to make the choice to say that I'm going to be a light in this world. I'm going to bring encouragement. I'm going to bring hope. I'm going to bring comfort because of who Jesus is and what he's done for me. And so all of you, man, all of us, this is something for me as well. Like, I have a choice. I have a decision to make of how I'm going to respond. And my hope is that, man, our response can be to say, how does God want to use me in this time? What does God want to teach me? What does God want to do in my life? And what does it look like for me to create opportunities for him to do that? Love you guys. I'll see you later.